Hello, and welcome back to the Pews. I am Preacher, and today, or overnight rather, we have an update to our breaking news segment. Apparently, let me bring up the graphic here. This is Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reporting that Microsoft's Xbox is planning more cuts after the studio closings, and that's after their 1,900 layoffs earlier in the year. So I thought we might take a look at the article. Because as I've said here many times before, we are chronicling the downfall of Xbox, and it's never been more apparent than now. I remember back in November we were talking about Xbox third-party publishing when everybody denied it. When everybody denied it, but the signs were lining up. And I'm telling y'all, we might have already seen the end of Xbox as the brand it was. Like I said yesterday, it is like ABK absorbed Xbox, and we're seeing that more and more. So let's dive into this article. I think there's a lot of interesting notes. So I was originally gonna just take the highlights from this article, but I think it's better that we read the article through, and I'll give my notes throughout. So it begins as the sudden closure of several video game studios at Microsoft Corp's Xbox division was the result of a widespread cost-cutting initiative that still isn't finished. And again, this is on top of the 1,900 jobs cut earlier in the year that was mostly from ABK. This is now affecting Bethesda proper, which is all under the umbrella of Xbox. So, one or the other, they're all the same. This week, the article continues. This week, Xbox began offering voluntary severance agreements to producers, quality assurance testers, and other staff at ZeniMax, which it purchased in 2020 for $7.5 billion, according to people familiar with the company's plans. Others across the Xbox organization have been told that more cuts are on the way. Again, this is reporting from Bloomberg. And Jason Schreier is about as inside as they come. So this is, again, practically out of the horse's mouth. And when the horse in question was asked, a spokesperson from Xbox declined to comment. The article continues, the employees were shocked by the unexpected shuttering Tuesday of 3 Xbox subsidiaries and the absorption of a fourth. The closures included Tokyo-based Tango Gameworks, which last year released the critically acclaimed action game Hi-Fi Rush. Tango was in the process of pitching a sequel, said the people who asked not to be identified, discussing non-public information. So Tango was at work on Hi-Fi Rush 2, which is what you want. You know what I mean? Hi-Fi Rush is a smaller game, and Matt Booty made some very perplexing comments in a town hall meeting, an internal town hall meeting for the Xbox teams yesterday. Again, last night, a lot of news. Xbox just won't stop. They really will not stop. But he made some perplexing statements about wanting smaller award-winning games. This is your smaller award-winning game that you got last year, and you killed the team who were working on the sequel. It just doesn't make sense. And actually, there was a tweet from Hi-Fi Rush's director. Let me pop that in here real quick because it's just mind-boggling. This is the director of Tango Gameworks' Hi-Fi Rush, who was just laid off in all of this. Reacting to what must be just another slap in the face on top of just having your entire life flipped around. Reading that from Tom Warren, a report from Tom Warren, another reliable gaming insider, the report that we need smaller games that give us prestige and awards, said by Matt Booty, who just fired you and your entire team who were pitching a sequel to a smaller game that had just given them prestige and awards. It's just complete. Like, look at the faces. All we can all do, because it doesn't make sense. Like, what are you trying to get across to your internal studios? I promise you this wasn't it. I promise you this wasn't the clarifying message that you needed, because you're telling me I can make the next Hi-Fi Rush and be booted. You told your teams and people relying on your vision that Game Pass was sustainable, and it isn't. Let's continue. The article continues and touches on that town meeting here. Schreier writes, during a town hall meeting with ZeniMax staff on Wednesday morning, Xbox president Matt Booty praised Hi-Fi Rush but did not specify why the company had shut down the development studio behind it, according to three people who were in attendance. Speaking about the closures more broadly, Booty said that the company's studio had been spread too thin like peanut butter on bread, and that leaders across the division had felt understaffed. They decided to close these studios to free up resources elsewhere, he said. Booty added that the shutdown of subsidiary Arcane Austin, the longtime developer of games such as Prey, was not connected to their performance of its new multiplayer game Redfall, a critical and commercial flop. So just in that, you have now given your team's mixed messaging. How is Xbox's messaging so bad that you can flip flop it three within three paragraphs? So it doesn't matter how good you do or how bad you do. You could just get shot. Anybody can get it. Like, as an internal studio, how do you feel safe? How do you feel safe? How do you work and create in this environment? Like, you see a lot of, and I'm not trying to bring up PlayStation just to bring them up, but you had the director of games like Stellar Blade praising the PlayStation Pantheon, wanting his game to be up there in those kinds of games, talking about God of War, talking about Uncharted. You have the CEO of Arrowhead wanting his game to be up there as well. You have I think the director of Spider-Man 2 talked about, when you're releasing a game on PlayStation, it has to have like that sort of, you know what I mean? That's the kind of environment you want them to be working in. You want your teams to be striving to one up each other because they want to be on the top of the mountain, not because they want to be alive, not because they want to stay around. That's the point of the acquisition, is you're supposed to provide these teams safety to create, and you didn't. And on top of it all, you don't even have enough respect for the people you bought or the people that bought into you to be straight up about what's going on. Let's continue. And the rest of the article goes on to summarize what happened yesterday, but I thought this last part about Game Pass was interesting. It reads, but Game Pass has not seen the massive growth that Xbox boss Phil Spencer may have been hoping for. Matt Piscatella, executive director of analysis firm Circana, said that monthly non-mobile video game subscription spending in the U.S. has been flat to low single digit growth since the middle of 2021. So he's talking about Game Pass there. In our data, Game Pass spending really had its big growth period in late 2019 through early 2021 and has since settled. Piscatella said purchasing games and add on content as well as free to play models are still vastly preferred methods of getting video games by U.S. consumers, at least for now. So again, if their biggest growth period was in late 2019 to early 2021, you know what I mean? They put out that Starfield was their biggest, growth in Game Pass subscribers in a single day, you know what I mean? That was supposed to be a big draw to Game Pass for them. And we see now on the other side of it, we got those Q3 earnings. That report, that only brought them up a whole 1%. You know what I mean? So it's not exactly getting there. The article continues, while there's no indication that Xbox plans to ditch the Game Pass model, there are hints that its big bets have not paid off. And I think it's pretty hard to argue anything else at this point. The ideals that Xbox was built on, coming up to and before the ABK acquisition, are almost completely gone. It's almost certain that they're just gone. That's just not what they're here to do now. They're here to make money. And in that same vein, they're breaking promises to both their consumers and their developers. The only people they're keeping their promises to are their shareholders. And I think people are about to be in for a shock because I think a lot of people have way more faith in Xbox than they ever should have. Case in point, friend of the channel, Pigeon Goat Gaming on Twitter. Definitely go follow him there. He had a post up April 18th. He was agreeing with the original repost. It says there, game launches on multiple platforms this sales, and all of them are going to Steam, PlayStation, and Switch, because oftentimes Xbox sales are in the single digits for a game's total sales numbers. That's really not good. That's really, really not good, and that makes third parties question even porting over to the Xbox platform, because even though you can get sales, it's not like doing a port is free. It's not like it's no work. So, you have to be seeing a return on investment. So his post goes, he's right. As a consumer, I love Game Pass as it offers amazing benefits for us, and it does. I've always said subscription services are good for gamers. I'm not against them. But due to Xbox's sole focus on Game Pass growth, there are less traditional sales, leading to games skipping Xbox. It's a hole in the Xbox strategy. And his question was, is there any way, I didn't get it all, excuse me. His question was, is there any way to fix that problem? And I went on to answer it. So my answer was, you're already seeing it, in my opinion. Game Pass works for smaller devs making smaller games, or devs like Capcom making something like Exoprimal. It doesn't work for a bunch of AAA titles like we got last year. And now, this year, there are far less third party AAA games. Obviously, they can't afford to just keep giving those games away, making acquisitions, making first party games. Like, something has to give when you're not selling games, when selling games is not what your platform is built off of. I continued, you'll still get AAAs on Game Pass, but I think it'll be a large majority Xbox first party. Hot take, I don't think COD is going to Game Pass. This was last month. Again, this was a hot take that is going to be normalized very quickly. So you still have draw to the service and allow your bigger partners the chance to sell. Xbox fans will be upset, but that hasn't stopped them yet. So, and that's true. But here comes an Xbox fan, right? So I Assassin XXII, aside from having a lopsided ass name, also has an opinion. He says COD will come to Game Pass, or it derails their entire strategy and message. It's easy for them to justify when they make more in microtransactions, which would increase even more with a higher player count. And I go on to answer this. I rebuttal, is that what people want it to become? I think if people want COD as we've known it up to now, they're going to have to pay for it. If COD goes free to play, you're going to get free to play COD at a la the mobile game. And I think they would rather backpedal than be accused of killing COD. And I think that's true. They're either going to stuff it full with microtransactions to the point of them being accused of killing it, or they're going to, now we're seeing them, well, I'll hold that. I'll hold that. He goes on and says, the game has been full of the game has been microtransaction ridden for a hell of a long time already, and it wouldn't be free to play. It would be purchased at full retail or playable through Game Pass subscriptions. And I responded that they'd be taking a major loss. No amount of Phil Spencer math is going to make putting a game with a budget of Call of Duty and a subservice profitable, which he very much needs to be post a $70 billion acquisition. I think if they were going to do it, they'd already have said it by now. He says, no, they wouldn't. It's always hilarious watching you clowns spout utter rubbish and thinking you've got the slightest clue what you're on about. I say, I'm pretty confident, bookmarked, see you in fall. Because, as we have said many times on this channel before, give an Xbox narrative time and it will ferment. I did put my pin a little far out, though we did not have to wait that long. Let me bring up the graphic. Fucking wasted. Like, it takes nothing. It takes nothing. Like, Xbox writes all of my punchlines. Phil Spencer is my executive producer, because you just have to give it time. They can't get these things done. How was Xbox going to put Call of Duty into Gamepass. They're having these talks. I'm telling you, it's over. I told you it was over months ago. Xbox is in a hole. They're in a deep, dark hole, and I don't know if they can climb out. Even their diehards are starting to turn, and it's really the end of days out here. Just sentiment all over is bad. They just have bad blood. They can't keep it together. They can't keep it together. And with more studios, like more closures, more layoffs coming, like pretty much confirmed to be coming, you know, even if this June showcase is a blowout, which, I mean, how much faith do you really have in the brand when they're this unstable all of the time? You feel good, and you have to know that a bad feeling is just around the corner, right? Like, you have to be waiting for the other shoe to drop when you get good news with Xbox. That's crazy. That's crazy. Why would you buy into that ecosystem? I don't get it. But I have kept you guys here much longer than usual. Again, let me know how you feel about the quicker formats. I'm trying to add a couple more graphics, keep the attention span, you know what I mean, and hopefully bring some more informative lens to what we're doing here. So let me know what you guys think of it. And at the end of this, I just want to give one last heartfelt, my highest condolences to everybody affected by the layoffs. And unfortunately, it looks like the upcoming layoffs, or structure rechanges. We don't really know what's going on, but I hope everybody the best, and I hope the games industry the best, because at the end of the day, we have to realize that we're all here, no matter, what console you play on, or no matter, we're all here for the games, and we all want the best games for everybody, and we all want the creators to be in the best position to create the best games that they can. You know what I mean? If you want anything other than that, you're in the wrong business. You're doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I am Preacher, and I hope to see you back here on the pews.